this is our newest acquisition. We're thinking it's a 1942 model. I had to drive a couple hours to go get this thing, but I like old American iron. So we got it last week and got it set in here. Haven't really figured out where we're going to put it yet. It'll be somewhere in this vicinity. So based on what I've found, this is a 1942 model. Let's look at some of the forms. They're saying that this, and the tags have changed now with the modern. DoAll is still in business. This is a DoAll V36, as you can see right here. But based on what I'm finding is that 36 is the model number, and 42 is the year it was made. And the rest of it is, it's actually the one in line. So this would have been a saw made during World War II, during the war years. So a lot of this older machinery had war finishes and some different stuff on it, because it was all about form follows function back during those years. So we know this is an older model because it's got this ceramic. Some of the forms I've seen, this ceramic. Obviously, see there's no ground in this. Typical old stuff. Holder here. And this is, we actually hooked this thing up to the phase converter and it sparked. So we'll just, I actually put a ground on the machine. Right now there was no grounds on it. We're going to check out this breaker box, or actually the control box. So like typical machines, this one's been through a lot of iterations and a lot of maintenance mechanics and a lot of different stuff. So you notice it's got the old screw-in fuses. Those have been abandoned at some point. And then somebody put in some straight fuses. Those will probably get rid of those and put a breaker on here. Then of course it's got the old school contactor. I don't know what year they quit making those. I would say that's probably from the 70s or 80s, just guessing. So we run everything in the shop. If you've seen our other videos, everything on three-phase phase converter, running 230 volt three-phase. So taking this thing apart, everything was kind of stuck. It's been set in a decade or so. It's been indoors, but it's just been set and it's got some surface rust on it. So I got everything moving on it. This is pretty interesting right here. It's got a lock right here. It's got the old school adjust the height of the thickness of your material on it. I've got all these covers. I was just doing some troubleshooting on it. I took all that stuff off so I can get my meter in there. So we notice that the variable speed pulley, the way this thing works is it's got a variable speed pulley on it. It's called a Reeves system. There's lots of different ways to vary speed, right? This system's called Reeves. You guys that have got MTD mowers of any sorts have probably seen this before. I know my pop's got one that's kind of problematic for a mower, but so what it does is it's got one of these right here is driven by the motor, and the other one drives a 2-speed transmission, which is a lever on the back. So it's got two ways of speed control. So when this moves back and forth, it pulls down, and the motor, basically the weight is the tensioner. So it just hangs there, and as you tighten up that screw, it changes the ratio. This is also, kind of a CV type system. You see these on some of the recreational equipment and also tube type stuff and mopeds and whatnot. But instead of having two separate pulleys to do it, this is kind of a one system. So this pulley right here, as it changes tension, this one tries to push this one apart, and it raises this to an outer level, which changes the ratio. So it's variable speed, infinitely adjustable within the different heights right here. However, when guys were pulling this off, this thing had grub screws in it, and then had a set screw on top of the grub screw. So when they put it in the press, you see it cracked this cast iron here in this plastic. So I think DoAll sells this whole assembly. It's an updated one. It's about $3,500, I think, last time I checked. DoAll makes great saws. They're really proud of their parts. So we'll have to come up with something with this. The newer saws and some of the other stuff I've done, I'm thinking about getting rid of this mechanical system and putting in a VFD type system. then drive the transmission with the VFT. That'll take care of this problem. Also, put a new box on it with get rid of those fuses, put a breaker in there, and put a VFD, and maybe put a speed reduction knob right here. It's also got a speedometer on it. I doubt it works. We don't know yet. We haven't actually got the blade to turn at any particular speed. Got the old speedometer on there, speed indicator, and that reads in surface feet per minute. So what's interesting about that is, in case you need to saw up meteorites, it tells you the speeds to use. Now notice these speeds are kind of high for surface feet per minute, but more than likely it's using the D, which is for diamond. So it's basically a file that you're cutting with a diamond blade. So interesting stuff. So these things were made, they've got a myriad of speeds, because if you look at the speeds on these things, we got 5,000 feet per minute there, and then let's just say the opposite end of the spectrum. It's got, like I said, you can put files in here. All right, conventional sawing is pretty interesting stuff in here. So if you're looking at conventional, put in the dial here. So CR, I think that's chrome moly. If you're cutting chrome steel, you notice it tells you the type of the stuff to use. Mist coolant, flood. But notice that the band velocity on these harder steels so it went all the way from what, 4,000 to 75. So I guess being a DoAll, it does it all, and also it's got a really wide speed range. I don't think I've ever seen one of these things run at full speed. I bet that thing's rocking it at 4,000. That's half the speed with the motor's turning. It's got 16-inch wheels. So I don't know. That wheel turning at 4,000 RPM would be cooking for a 16-inch wheel. Well, it wouldn't actually be the speed of this. It would be, I think, on a 12-inch wheel, you probably got 50 inches. So you divide 50 into that, and come up with divide 50 by 12, and then you do your RPM, and that'll give you the surface feet per minute. But either way, it'd be moving. So, got a blade welder here. I don't know if any of this stuff works or not. I'd be afraid to. A lot of these older saws or older equipment, or older stuff in general, even residential stuff had like a cotton covered wire, and it deteriorates over time. I don't know why it would deteriorate. This saw is only 70 years old. But over here, I'm not sure what this box does. We haven't got into that yet, but I'm sure it's probably going to come off here. It's kind of janky. But right here, this adjusts. It's got a rod in here adjusts. I'll show you guys that in a second. This rod right here, this turns a rod it's got a threaded bracket in there that actually adjusts the tension on that Reeves drive I was telling you about, that changes the position of the two pulleys. And that it also has a 2-speed transmission in it. And we went through it, and it's grabbing. I don't know what kind of shape it's in, or if it's loose or whatever, but it does engage. I think one speed is direct drive through it, and then the next speed is some type of reduction for the low side. I don't know what that ratio is, but that's how that works. What else about this saw? So, notice in here, I can just tell by the looks of it, plus the tags aren't the same. This right here is I got the motor tag. It's got a 3 horsepower Marathon in it from Wausau, Wisconsin. Pretty good motors. I've worked on them before. So it's got a 3 horsepower on it. From the factory, it's got another tag on here that so it's got the motor tag. I haven't seen that before, or at least seen it in a while. It's got it put on the outside of the equipment. It's equipped with a. Hey, you want to get a picture of this one right here?
Yeah, I already came over there.
Okay. So
I get another one. Yeah.
It's got a General Electric tag. So this originally had looks like a 1.1 1.25 horse. Actually, it says quarter horse. That sounds kind of small.
Quarter horse.
It says 1 quarter horse. Man, that would be. Well, I guess with the drive ratios and stuff, you can make it work. But you can tell by the form factor of that motor has been replaced. Probably 70s or 80s or something.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever seen the old motors from the 20s, 30s, and 40s? They're all solid cast iron. They look kind of like a big, almost shaped like a watermelon. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. The this pulley, here's that reef system. I went over this already. It goes in on this rod right here. And the motor hooks to that. Then it's got another belt off of it. It goes up to the transmission. And right here I was talking about, here's the speed control here. It's got like a little drive shaft that tightens that up, and that changes those two ratios. Like I said, if you've ever seen some of the lawnmowers, they've got that similar system. You push down, when you push down the acceleration pedal on it, changes those speeds. This doesn't have, at one time you can see it was equipped with the power feed, which I believe this one was set up with the gravity fed one. It had a lever right here, or a pedal, you push down right here. I guess that lifts the weight. And then have cables. It had cables that came down through right here and hooked to this rod right here. Then a counterweight would have been here right next to the motor hanging off that thing. And then you can adjust how much weight it pushes down on it with this knob right here. With that adjusting wheel. All right. So it was, I thought it was single phase and single legging first when we tried to start it. Let's throw some power on and see if we get that thing to. Right. Motor.
I don't know what you're saying to me.
Go get put the camera on the motor.
Oh.
Well, it's probably going to jump a little bit just because of the inertia of the motor, and this, like I said, was gravity fed. So a little bit of noise in the motor, some bearings. But as much as I use it, I'll probably just try to use this motor, maybe take it apart, clean it, put new bearings in it. But like I said, this is all set for a long time, so a lot of the stuff that was grease and stuff, the grease had dried up on it and whatnot. So there's that. Yeah, you got any questions? Surprised anybody knows how to use it.